5 people have died, 8 others remain missing after a devastating volcanic eruption off the coast of New Zealand's North Island. Police believe everyone who remains on White Island has been killed by the eruption. Live now to New Zealand correspondent Jackson Williams for the latest. Jackson, good morning to you. Conditions on the island remain too dangerous for emergency services to launch a recovery operation.
That's the advice that has been provided by experts, by police. Local police speaking to media this morning, adamant that they won't be mounting what will essentially, Peter, be a recovery operation until it is safe for them to do so. Currently, that is not the case. We have been provided with a more precise figure of the total number of people who were on Whakaari, White Island, shortly after 2 o'clock local time yesterday afternoon, 50 kilometres here off the coast of Whakatane when this volcanic eruption took place. Initially, it was suggested that there were as many as 100 people on or around this island when this eruption occurred. That figure later yesterday was then revised down to fewer than 50. Now police have been able to provide us with a clearer picture, a better indication of just how many people were on that island. They say 47 people were on that island. 31 of those people remain in hospital. 3 people have been discharged from hospital. We know that 5 people comprising multiple nationalities have been confirmed dead as a result of yesterday's eruption here in New Zealand. A further 8 people remain unaccounted for. Police say they believe that those people did not survive yesterday's volcanic eruption.
The pilot that went out there and spent about 45 minutes has provided a pretty good indication that we do not believe anybody else has survived that explosion. We also had the Eagle helicopter up there as well for a considerable period of time, and we could detect no signs of life.
Of the people who were brought back to shore yesterday afternoon, they weren't brought back here just by boats. The Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, has praised the efforts, the bravery is the word she used, Peter, of a number of helicopter pilots, including from private companies, who landed on White Island yesterday afternoon at a very volatile period to essentially rescue people, to bring them back to shore. So those helicopter pilots essentially saved lives through what they did yesterday afternoon. We know that a number of reconnaissance flights took place overnight. Really, as we heard from police there are no apparent signs of life on the island. The death toll as it stands is at 5, but given there are 8 people presumed dead, well, that death toll is only going to rise quite drastically. A significant number of people are still in hospital, various hospitals across the country, some as far south as Christchurch in the South Island. That is according to Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. So we can really make the most of the best medical expertise and the best burns units in the country. We'll listen to Jacinda Ardern speaking, offering her condolences.
To those who have lost or are missing family and friends, we share in your unfathomable grief at this moment in time and in your sorrow. Your loved ones stood alongside Kiwis who are hosting you here, and we grieve with you and we grieve with them. To our Australian family especially, we'll do everything we can to support you as you have supported us.
Jacinda Ardern says she has been in regular contact with her Australian counterpart, Prime Minister Scott Morrison. The Prime Minister of Australia took to social media overnight. I'll read some of what he says. He says it's his understanding that there were 24 people on Whakaari, White Island, at the time of yesterday's eruption. He says there are still people who are unaccounted for, including Australians. We have so far been able to identify a number of Australians who have been hospitalised. We must prepare for some difficult news in the days ahead. We know that the Australian Federal Police has already sent some liaison officers across the Tasman, Peter, here to New Zealand. The Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, says an offer has also been made to send victim identification officers from Australia to New Zealand if their help, if their expertise is needed. We do know that a number of the people who were on White Island yesterday afternoon when this devastating volcanic eruption took place were actually on a day trip. They were on a cruise ship visiting Tauranga, which is about an hour away from Whakatane. They were doing a day trip, taking part in what should have been an exciting opportunity, adventure tourism. Of course, it does come with a risk. Sadly, that has resulted in a number of people dying. Yeah,
it's just an awfully tragic story, Jackson, and also the missing are from Australia, the United States, the United Kingdom, China and Malaysia. Just a devastating story. More details over the next few hours. Jackson Williams live for us in New Zealand this morning. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.